Well, welcome to Elevate, Massage Heights' very own podcast. This is Shane Evans, Massage Heights co-founder and president. And I am happy today to have one of our top performing strategic partners out of Dallas, Texas, John Weathers. Welcome to the podcast today, John.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Kind of had mixed emotions trying to follow up Nate Connect, but I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Did you get to listen to all or one or of?
I listened to a couple of them.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, some good tidbits in there. And
Absolutely.
I thought, the first one, I remember I had a conversation with Tom Gustav, and he said, wow, I got some really good stuff out of that first podcast with Nate. I said, oh, wait to the next couple, because the next couple had more operational and kind of marketing tactics in there. So it was good stuff. So far, good feedback. And I just want to say I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come and this is really for other strategic partners, right? I know that when we go to conference or any meetings that we have, the feedback that we get about the best sessions are always the ones where you've got kind of breakouts and time to round table, or even just the evenings where you just have time to talk to one another and share best practices. So really, that's what this is all about: is connecting with our franchisees, sharing the best practices, and hopefully making everybody better. So
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to help any way I can.
Well, let's start real quick with the number of retreats. You have 3 of them here in Dallas.
Yes.
Will you tell me the names of those locations?
Stonebridge Ranch, McKinney was the first one.
Yep.
And then Frisco, Eldorado, which is in Frisco, and Windhaven Plaza, which is in Plano.
Yes. And I know 1, you built from the ground up. 2, you actually took over from a previous operator.
Right.
And seen some big changes in the numbers, which obviously has to do with the things that you're doing at the store level.
Right.
And I know with the first one out in McKinney, you won some awards there. What other awards? You've gotten some awards. You had a lead skin therapist that won an award and got to come to convention this year too.
We did. She won the top retail sales award. Yeah. At the last convention. She did an amazing job winning that. And then I think one year we had the highest increase in revenue year over year.
Yes.
Percentage-wise.
Yep, that's what it was. Yep. Yeah. Well, congratulations on those things. Let's dig in a little bit into just kind of some personal stuff, a little bit about you. What is your background, and what did you do before Massage Heights?
Well, after college, I went to work for and took over my dad's business, which he started, which was Precision Tune Auto Care. Became the area developer for Precision Tune Auto Care. We had 8 stores, and we had 3 franchises that we supported in that role. And I ran that business for a little over 20 years, and I had kids, and one day I just woke up and asked myself, look, is this what I want to continue to do the rest of my life? And the answer was not no, but it was heck no. So automotive repair is a tough business.
Is it?
And yeah, it is. It's tough from a labor perspective as well as a customer perspective. So I decided I wanted to sell all those businesses. It took me a couple of years to do that. And so after that, I dabbled in a few different things, but went to started a franchise brokerage business. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of experience with Precision Tune Auto Care in franchising, and I know the values of franchising and the networking, especially the networking. And, it's about taking a model and trying to make it better, or trying to make it work for your area, rather than reinventing the wheel.
Yep.
So I was a franchise broker, and I did that for a couple of years. And I noticed I was part of a brokerage network, and I noticed that there were multiple massage franchises that were popping up on the network list out of nowhere. There was none except, and not even Massage Envy was on there because they do their own. But several others popped up, and I was like, what is to this? I mean, I love getting massage. So I looked around the landscape. Massage Envy was the entire Dallas-Fort Worth region was pretty much full. And so I did some research, and I found the fastest growing Massage Heights franchise at the time, which is about 2012, 2013, was Massage Heights. I was like, let me research this company. And I love the website. I love the stores. Popped into one of the stores. It was like a relative to Massage Envy, it was more like a Nordstrom's of massage, and that really attracted me. So flew down, met you and Wayne, and y'all are a family-operated business like I'd been involved with for many years, and really like what I saw, and next thing you know, I'm here.
Here you are. How many years later is that now? Was that 2012?
I started seeing the franchises pop up in 2012.
Okay,
I think I started the process of looking for a location in 2013.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And it was late 2013 that I signed the agreement, and then ultimately opened in April of 2014 in McKinney.
That sounds right. That sounds right. Gosh, time flies. What is the most attractive thing to you about the business model itself when you were looking at it then and then today?
Two things, I think. Program-based and...
meaning membership.
Meaning membership, right. Membership model. And, it's that recurring revenue stream that we're going for.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that massage has been around for thousands and thousands of years and has changed very little. The elevations have changed, adding cupping and hot stones, and now there's people doing bamboo and all kinds of other different modalities on top of it. But, your basic business of massage has been around, hasn't changed very much, and will always be around.
Yeah.
And, in the automotive industry, part of the frustration in that business is everything's constantly changing. Technology's constantly changing. Parts are constantly changing. Inventory's constantly going obsolete. And so I wanted to get into a stable program-based business and a business that customers actually like coming to you.
Yeah.
Rather than...
Yeah. Nobody wants to spend their money on auto parts.
No one wants to. Yeah. No one likes going to get their car fixed.
Yeah.
No. So.
Yes, but people do look forward to a massage.
Nice, relaxing massage.
Yeah, and to your point, it's thousands of years old, and there aren't really any changes to it. And as a matter of fact, I think most of the Eastern medicine practices are being more incorporated into Western medicine these days. And so some of the types of massage that, where it sort of came from, right, where it originated, are now sort of crossing over into the United States even more so. But to your point, it doesn't change. You can't replace a human being massage with a mechanical, robotic, or a chair or anything like that. It's just not the same.
The hydro massages and those machines, that doesn't give you the same experience.
Yeah, it does not give you the experience. So you've got that. It's not a fad. It's something that's here to stay.
Right.
And you've got the business model with the recurring revenue stream, which is super attractive. It's pretty awesome when you have stores that are shut down in the wintertime because of major snowstorms or what have you. The gross is still there. You don't even have to open the doors.
Well, it's like Brian Buford told me a while back. He actually loves snow days. The one or two a decade that come around in Texas.
In Houston.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. You have no overhead that day. There's nobody to pay, but there's revenue. Yes, that's a pretty attractive business model, isn't it? Getting back to retreat operations, what are the challenges in running multiple retreats? You have 3 of them. And how do you address those challenges? Is it infrastructure or communication, or what would you say is the biggest challenge when you've got more than one? And is it a challenge to have 2, or is it the challenges really come in at 3, or is it sort of equally challenging regardless of the number?
Yeah, I think to answer your last part of that question, I think it's equally challenging for 3, just as if it would be as with 2.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is keeping a pulse on the business as far as the energy in the retreat.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got one retreat, you can come in 5 times a week for several hours, and you get a feel on how everybody's doing, and making sure that they've got that consistency that you want, and that type of thing. When you have multiple retreats, you need to get everybody on the same page. Everybody needs to be doing the same thing, and everybody needs to have the same checklist that they need to use on a consistent basis. Otherwise, it's a lot more chaotic. In the beginning, it's Frisco's doing one thing, Plano's doing another thing, and Stonebridge Ranch is doing a whole other thing. One of the benefits of having multiple retreats is if you have a crisis, one of your front desk can't make it to work, you can always call up or use other front desk staff from the other retreats.
Oh, yeah.
And
some efficiencies really with your team members.
Absolutely. Now, and that's why you need consistent policies and procedures at each location. So we learned a lot from that, and added to it, and continue to grow it.
Yeah.
So
how are you handling communications amongst your? Now you do have a regional manager over your 3, don't you, or no?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, Michelle is our regional director, but she's also the director of McKinney.
One location. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She is. That's. I've been real blessed to have both her and my lead therapist, Eden. That's where that loyalty value comes in. They were. They've been with me since before I opened the McKinney location.
Yep.
So she wears a lot of different hats and is going in all different kind of directions and places these days, but continues to do a really good job. So
yeah. So how does and I'm sure she is running in lots of different directions. So do you know what is there anything unique as it pertains to communications strategies that you guys use amongst all of your retreats, or that you use, or that she uses specifically to kind of keep everybody connected and on the same page?
Right. Well, first off, we use the Crew app.
Okay.
It's just an app where you can set up different groups of a retreat group for each retreat, entire company group, or just groups of front desk or therapists, so that we can communicate schedules and policy changes or policy reminders, more of to the different key people, and to give kudos to the retreats and the individuals when they get an outstanding review or do something really amazing and go above and beyond. We use that to communicate that way.
When you do those shout-outs, do you include all of the retreats in the shout-outs so that everybody is aware of an employee that you're giving those kudos to, or is it within the retreat only?
It's mainly within the retreat only.
Okay.
But as we're talking right now. It would be a lot more beneficial if I broadcasted it through all the retreats,
Yeah.
just to give that extra kudos.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we share files,
Mm-hmm.
and so every retreat director has our weekly KPIs
Mm-hmm.
that we go over, and they can see each different retreats. They can see each different front desk closing percentage, which is important.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone knows what everybody's doing all the time.
And that's amongst all three of them.
Mhm.
So you have kind of an internal competition going and accountability, right?
Right.
So,
Right. It's about being accountable, and it's about, promoting and verbalizing the success of certain people in certain retreats, and which will hopefully coach, motivate, and inspire the other retreats who may have a bad week or something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you guys is there anything else that, back in the gym days, we used to have daily conference calls where we were given the gross goal for the day. And we'd have, 30 clubs on the phone. Our regional director would give everybody their gross goal. And then basically he would pit us up against another store that was, another club that was kind of our size. And I will tell you, I never wanted to be the girl that didn't hit her numbers on the next day's call, because he would call you out. And I'm not saying that is how we should do things,
Right.
but do you do anything like you're doing it through the app? But do you do weekly calls or daily calls or anything like that with your? Just curious. I don't know that anybody does, but.
Right. Well, I do a weekly call. I talk to all the retreat directors about just about everyone's performance using those KPIs that we share at least once a week. And then on a daily basis, I talk to them on most days about their prior day performance and about other retreats' prior day performance, and so we can compare and contrast, and to try to motivate them to do that. Another thing that I do communication-wise with all the different retreats is I have a quarterly meeting in which we get everyone together, and everyone meets all the other different therapists and gets to see everybody's different numbers, and we reward the high performers, the highest closing front desk, the highest closing massage therapist, the massage therapist that performs the most units, is the most consistent, and that kind of thing. And that's been a really, really big help, I think. I've always been a fan of, it's really important that all of your people know how you're doing. If they don't know how they're doing, as a retreat in an area within the company, they have there's nothing to guide them, and it produces a lack of motivation and inspiration.
Yeah.
So keeping that communication out there, at least on a quarterly basis, as far as area-wide results, is pretty key, and it's been very helpful, I think.
Yeah, I think that's great. Well, and even I think it's very easy for people to feel like they're on an island, and that we're just over here at this location or what have you. So to be able to get your entire group together and have them see, well, we're part of a much bigger team, than just the 20 of us at this retreat or what have you.
That's right.
So.
And as you know, therapists, they're in this business for a reason. They want to help and heal people.
Yes.
And they like to feel appreciated. And hey, as business owners, and we appreciate them.
Yeah.
Not only as assets in our business, but as human beings and teammates, people who bring life and vitality to a retreat, people that help create those fantastic reviews and make your day working together enjoyable. And they need to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely critical piece of our business for sure. And It sounds like, I mean, just between the app, the crew app, and just your quarterly meetings, you're doing a lot to get people kind of on the same page and give them those kudos and recognition in front of their peers. And that gets sort of into culture. And I don't even know that we need to talk about it. It sounds like you have a culture of, I mean, if you were to just define one word, how would you describe the culture in your location? Locations.
Yeah, locations. I would say it's more of a Google than an IPM. And
I like that analogy.
I don't mean that from a scale percentage by any means.
Sure.
But just the atmosphere and, we don't have and that was one of the hardest things about buying the 2 additional retreats is to really establish, to get them in tune with our culture, the culture that we had established at Stonebridge Ranch.
Yeah.
Because, they'd been operating under a certain set of circumstances for many, many, many years. It's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just that it's a different culture. Yeah. And bringing them into the fold has been really tough, but we've come a long way. We have more of we do not have, should I say, a disciplinary management style. It's more of a, hey, let me help you. If someone isn't performing, before we go, most people want to go right at the behavior and penalize or discipline the behavior, not showing up or being late or whatever the case may be. And I think that was more of the kind of a culture that was there maybe before. But we're more of the approach that, hey, let's start with the end. Let's have a conversation. Hey, do you know what happens when you call out? It puts a huge burden on the front desk. Number one, completely stresses them out because they have to call the customer. And what does the customer think? It ruins the customer's day. Hey, they've got time out that they want to go relax and get a massage, and now they're getting called saying that they can't have that one luxury. And so, we start with the end and just have a conversation with our team and say, look, have you thought about the ramifications of what's happening on the other side? And so we like to start there. Start with the end. Explain the picture, make sure we're on the same page that way, because most people don't really think about the other side. They just think about what they got to do that day.
Yeah.
So we like to start there.
So it sounds like a more collaborative kind of coaching style and fun. I mean, when you say Google versus IBM, I think of fun and not fun.
Right. Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Laid back, playing ping pong in the breaks. We're not playing ping pong in the breaks, but but that is the atmosphere. And one of the mottos we have is that I tell everyone is coach, motivate, and inspire. All of our team members, when they come to me saying, "Oh, so and so does this, and we should talk about this," and I'm like, "All right, well, step one is." Let's go start coaching. Let's go start motivating. And let's go start inspiring them to do the behavior that we want, which is a win-win.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to explain to them, look, we're not on different pages here. We want win-win. If it's not good for you, then it's not good for me. So we want a win-win situation here. That's why we need you here. That's why we need you on time. That's why we need you following procedures. Hey, we have a 6-step sales process for a reason.
Right.
It works.
Yep.
You break down one of the sales processes, one of the steps, and performance starts falling. So.
And that affects not just the lifestyle consultant at the front desk, but it affects the massage therapist that worked on that guest as well.
It affects everything.
Everybody, and everything, and all the goals that you're trying to reach. Speaking of goals, do you have any goal-setting tips
Well, our main goals are active member base centric. So, we start with at Stonebridge Ranch. I told everybody, hey, look, our first goal is 1,000 members, 1,000 active, and the next goal is going to be 1,250, and the next one is 1,500. So, we've talked about that goal every day. So you set that goal, and then every single day I have a conversation with all the front desk, and I ask them, what's our active member base today? And the next goal is in 50 active member increments. So,
Okay.
If you're at 700, hey, how close to 750 are we? And it's talked about on a daily basis, because active member base is what it's all about.
Absolutely.
What does it take to get an active member base? Number one, you've got to sell memberships, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you got to be accountable to yourself. You've got to do all the little things. You've got to develop the rapport. You've got to close the sale. The therapist needs to do their job. It's all part of that 6-step process.
Yep.
But at the same time, you've got to retain your members. And, that's a big part that's easily forgotten. And one of the things that we're constantly talking about is, hey, when if you got a lobby full of guests and they're all, existing program holders, hey, it's your job to engage them too.
Yeah.
It's not just about engaging and developing rapport with the prospects. It's about managing that relationship, and because it's a lot harder. Let's be honest, it's a lot harder to end your membership on if you know everybody in the retreat.
Absolutely.
If you know all the front desk by name, and you know your therapist, and you know that they're going to be hugely disappointed. So, we're constantly having those discussions, and that's why active member base is the focus.
So that's your number one key performance indicator. That's the thing. Everybody knows what that number is every single day. And we know that it takes a number of things to make up that active member base, which is prospects, appropriate scheduling so that we can get those prospects in, membership conversion, retention, to your point. Those things all create that number.
Right.
But I think that's great that you have one key number that everybody's focused in on every single day.
Right.
And
managing suspends.
Yep.
Doing the other work that's not as fun or exciting.
Sure.
But
Sure.
it's all part of it.
Yeah, but the cost of losing a member, can be quite a bit. If our average member is worth about $1,100 a year, and they stay on average 3 years, the cost of acquisition, when you consider what the cost of acquisition is, it's just you focus in on keeping them somehow. And to your point, we're a relationship-oriented business.
That's right.
If we get our members coming in once or twice a month, we're building a relationship with them.
That's
The
right.
front desk staff is, just as the therapists are as well, and it does make it harder for them to leave.
That's right.
Yeah. And why would they want to leave? I understand.
right.
I mean, sometimes you have circumstances and moves and things like that, but hopefully we do a good enough job with everything else to where they don't want to leave, right? Unless they have to. So, what about compensation? Is there? I don't even know if that was a question that we had on this one this time, but is there anything that you're doing? So you talked about the 1,000 member goal, and the next one being 1,250, and so on and so forth. Is there anything that you're doing to incentivize either your therapist or your front desk staff that might be unique and above and beyond the typical, well, you get a spiff on the membership when you sell it, both ways, or you get, a spiff on, basically spiffs, I guess, is what. Is there anything different that you're doing that you would say is motivating?
I'm not sure that I do anything too different. I think, I do have bonuses in place for all the retreat directors as well as the assistant retreat directors. And those bonuses are based on revenue and active member base. So at each different level, say, our Frisco location, it's now it's closing in on 750.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the next big benchmark on active member base. It was right around 500 when I took it over.
Okay.
And so both the retreat director and assistant retreat director are highly focused on that, and it's a material goal.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And then it's in 50 active member increments after that, and then the revenue is based on $55,000 and $5,000 increments.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So bonuses for retreat directors and assistant retreat directors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monthly. They're monthly based on the active member. Or?
No, just strictly based on when they hit the revenue, they get the bonus.
Okay. Got it.
When they hit the active member base, they get the bonus.
Okay.
So we have the same other type little incentives
Sure.
that we do that I think most of the retreats do, but I think that's the only thing that might be different.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of there's most. I think you're right that as far as pay structure and all that are the same, but I've heard some unique things as far as incentives and such. Trying to think about some of the ones that Nate shared, but he had some good ones too. We had a franchisee in Houston at one time. They took over a location where it wasn't doing well, and the numbers skyrocketed after they took it over. As a matter of fact, I think they doubled in like 60 days or something.
Oh, wow.
And one of the
that would be nice.
I know one of the things that they did is they when they reached certain goals, they would literally hand out like $50 bills or $100 bills. Like everybody just got one.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great, but I don't remember what the number was. But just celebrating, we've got another 100 members, and or we're at 1,000 member mark, or what have you. Those bigger milestones, to getting you there. I thought that was kind of fun. And the other thing that they used to do is they kept Bluebell ice cream in the refrigerator, in the freezer, and it was just, the retreat had been sort of, mismanaged, not taken care of for a very long time,
right.
And the owners were just not engaged. And so what they did is they brought in the Bluebell ice cream.
Oh.
And that made it feel like home. They're like, oh my gosh, somebody cares. They're keeping Bluebell ice cream in their freezer.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, anyway, I always thought that was kind of a neat thing. Not very costly,
See, regarding dessert foods, I did buy 7 cases of Girl Scout cookies and take them to each different retreat. So they got a kick out of that.
You delivered them? Did you deliver them with a brownie banner
with
on
sachet,
everything?
with a sash and everything, a little skirt. That's right.
That would have been very interesting to see you do. That would have been funny. Well, I appreciate you coming today and taking the time out of your day. Like I said, you're a busy man with kids and 3 businesses, and I don't even know what else you've got going on, but I'm sure there's lots of other things. So thank you for taking the time out, because I know really it is very helpful to many people, and it's not just brand new franchisees or people that haven't been in the system for a long time. I hear from people who've been in the system for years and years and years that they always learn something when they get a chance to listen to other operators. So there's going to be a nugget that will come out of this, or 2 or 5 or 10. One of the things that I just recently discussed with my team is I actually have them listening to all the podcasts, and we've got a Google Doc, a living, breathing kind of spreadsheet with everybody at the corporate office's name on it, and we're going to start putting in the 5 to 10 best practices or things that we pulled out of each podcast. Great. And be able to consolidate that information and then share it with our franchisees. So I know that we're going to get some good stuff out of this one. So thank you.
Well, my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Hey, are you still nervous?
Not as much, but yeah.
You did great. You did great.
All right.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Sure.
All right. Now that you've heard from us, we'd like to hear from you. If you have questions, if you have guests that you'd like to see on the podcast, please shoot us an email at communications@massageheights.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube. Thank you. And as always, elevate the everyday.